Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. You know, seeing the power of the human body is something we truly love to watch. Whether it's someone lifting a car off of their baby or gaining 3 times their original body weight. How a body can survive trauma, negligence, and other difficult circumstances makes us both grateful and fearful of the possibilities. One of the most frightening things to watch is people suffering from morbid obesity. Whether it's genetic, illness-induced, or psychological, these top 10 fattest people who ever lived are truly shocking. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up, and in the comments section, tell us what video you'd like to see next.
Number 10. Manuel Uribe. Manuel Uribe has one of the saddest stories on this list. He's a man who at his heaviest weighed 1,100 pounds and whose obesity eventually killed him. His story is much more complicated than that, though, because during his life, when he weighed 906 pounds, he actually lost over 700 pounds, breaking world records in the process. He even started touring the country, lecturing on healthy lifestyles. If only that was the end of the story. Sadly, he couldn't keep the weight off, and he actually regained the weight and then some, weighing in at 1,100 pounds. He again managed to lose a significant amount of weight, weighing in at 550 pounds in the end, but that not being enough for him to regain his health, he died due to his morbid obesity in 2013. Number 9. Ahmed Abdelatai. Contrary to popular belief, not all morbidly obese people are in the United States. Of course, by popular belief, I mean what's portrayed on My 600-Pound Life. No, sir. Our number 9 comes representing Egypt. She was born in 1980 and made a place for herself in history as the second heaviest woman. She was just under 4 feet 8 inches in height, but weighed about 1,100 pounds. This means she has the highest recorded body fat percentage, carrying lots of weight on a small frame. Even from the moment when she was born, she was heavy at 11 pounds. She suffered from a thyroid problem and had to stop going to school at an early age. As an adult, she was hospitalized in 2017 to undergo weight loss treatment, during which she managed to shed about 720 pounds. However, she then sadly died of organ failure. Number 8. Francis John Lang. Michael Walker. Michael Walker was born in the United States in 1934. He was quite a thin man in his youth, weighing only about 150 pounds. However, after serving time in the Army, he started abusing narcotics and gained weight uncontrollably until he weighed in at almost 1,200 pounds. Instead of panicking when he suddenly couldn't leave his bed, he decided to make money from it in a really old-school way. He essentially became a traveling freak show of his own accord. He moved into a mobile home and exposed his body for money. People could view him through the windows he built into the home where he'd lay almost nude. He eventually was hospitalized and began to lose weight, moving away from the fast life of circus sideshows, and eventually died in 2011. Number 7. Walter Hudson. Walter Hudson once held the number 1 spot on the Guinness Book of World Records as the heaviest man on Earth. At his highest weight, 1,200 pounds, he was well known for his size, often appearing in newspapers and reports for getting stuck in doorways or falling on his way back to his bedroom. As we saw before in other cases, he joined a weight loss program and was able to leave his house for the first time in almost 20 years. But sadly, this didn't stick, and in his 40s, at the time of his death, he had all but returned to his original weight. He died in 1991 of a heart attack in his home, and authorities had to cut a hole in his wall in order to remove his body. Number 6. Robert Butler. Robert Butler was an American man born in 1971. He became somewhat of a local celebrity in Rhode Island after reaching out, searching for a surgeon. His problem? He was stuck in his bedroom for a long time due to his weight. He weighed about 1,200 pounds at the time and expressed his need for surgery and his willingness to die trying to become a freer man. He referred to his problem as food addiction and hoped he could find help to overcome it. He had tried, of course, and managed to bring his weight down to 600 pounds in the past, but he just couldn't keep it off, and his life ended at the age of 43 on the operating table due to sepsis. Number 5. Carol Yeager. Were you left wondering who topped Iman Ahmed Abdelatai on the list of heaviest women in the world? Well, you found her. She's not significantly heavier than Iman Ahmed and weighs the same as a lot of our previous cases, 1,200 pounds. She was born in the United States in 1960 and died at the age of 34. Growing up, she says she started suffering from an eating disorder after being sexually abused by a family member. Shortly before dying in the hospital, she was removed from her home after not moving for almost a year. With help, she dropped about 500 pounds, but was still morbidly obese and eventually died of organ failure and other problems in 1994. Number 4. Juan Pedro Franco. Juan Pedro Franco is another case outside of the United States that proves there is some hope to be had on this list. He was born in Mexico in 1985 and is still around today to prove to everyone that change is possible. At his peak, he weighed 1,312 pounds and took the title of the heaviest man alive. Eventually, he underwent 2 weight loss surgeries, which cut his food intake drastically. Within 2 years, he had shed half his body weight. He was also looking to attempt a 3rd surgery that would cut that weight down even further. For a man that once had to be hooked up to oxygen and was restricted to his bed, changes this big prove that determination and a good support system can turn your life around. Number 3. Manuel Uribe. Coming in at number 3, we stay in Mexico to find Manuel Uribe, a man born in 1965 who spent 6 years confined to his bed. After gaining weight, living a sedentary life, he eventually lost his whole life and his happiness to the extreme size of his body. At a regular weight, Manuel Uribe weighed just under 300 pounds. He took to bed in 2002 and sank into a deep depression that put his weight at record-breaking highs, reaching 1,230 pounds at his highest. He became a well-known Mexican celebrity. He eventually got down to 867 pounds, got remarried very publicly, and then died at the age of 48 in 2015. They say his death was caused by liver and cardiac conditions, but it's not confirmed. Number 2. Khalid Bin Motion Shari. For number 2 on our list, we go to Saudi Arabia, where, back in 1991, Khalid Bin Motion Shari was born. Khalid is one of the most shocking turnaround stories on this whole list. He was the 2nd heaviest person in recorded history, weighing in at 1,340 pounds. He had the highest body mass index ever recorded and was even ordered by the king, Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, to be removed and transferred from his home to the capital to receive treatment. After receiving treatment, he lost 710 pounds in just 6 months. He continued to lose weight, and eventually it was reported that he had dropped down to 150 pounds and was now healthy. Number 1. Jon Becker Minich. Of course, we couldn't stay away from the United States for long. Number 1 is back at the States, where we meet Jon Becker Minich. Born in 1941 in Seattle, Washington, at age 12, Jon Becker Minich weighed almost 300 pounds. He was diagnosed with a condition called generalized edema, in which his body accumulated fluid. In fact, at his heaviest, about 1,400 pounds, about 900 pounds of his body mass were just retained fluid. Can you imagine? Of course, at this rate, he was constantly being treated for issues with his organs. He was so large that during the treatment of his congestive heart failure, it took 13 people to turn him over. He lived only thanks to a strict diet enforced by physicians. At the time of his death at the age of 41, he weighed 798 pounds. Thanks for watching. Do you know of any inspiring stories of people who lost weight and are now healthier? Let us know in the comments below. It's always healthy to gain more knowledge, so be sure to subscribe right now as an appetizer. Click the bell to receive word whenever something new comes out on the Top 10 Archive menu. And for dessert, give this video a like. Hey, and look, here are 2 more video entrees you can dig into right now. Bon appetit!